Today, I'm showing you how I trade USDJPY using the volume profile. So with that said, we're going to get straight into it. So last week, I created content on what I thought the USDJPY was going to do. Right? It was all just an assumption when I did that recording, and what I said was going to happen actually happened. Right? It actually happened. It wasn't a definite say, hey guys, do XYZ because I believe this is what is going to take place. It wasn't like that at all. It was just like, look, I think price wants to come up here. So I was on the lines of, I think price wants to come above this level over here. Okay, it wants to break through, and I believe price wanted to target this swing high over here, and price did break through. It did not target this area that I just mentioned, so it didn't go for that. What it did was it broke through and then it came all the way back down again. Okay, so in this situation right here, in all fairness, I probably would have been caught out. Why? Because once price closed above this low value node over here, I would have been off the mindset that price is going to be continuing its push to this upside, not immediately collapsing back on itself after it's peaked through. So this move that it actually did, this move right here, I would not have expected that. I would not have expected that, but then again, I should expect that. Why? Because we had this up here as well. We had this up here as well. So this is another part of the volume profile when using it, that you can kind of set it up in a way where it only looks out for your biases, right? But however, if you got everything set up properly, it actually tells you where you should actually get off if you need to get off. So say last week, so let me just get the levels up so we know where we are. Okay, so this was Monday. Okay, so let me just get this over here as well. So at least we're just in the week that we need to be keeping an eye on. Okay, so in all fairness, I can't really blame you for anything, right? So I need to wind back some of the stuff I've said, because chances are most of you guys don't hold your positions over the weekends anyway, right? You actually don't do that. So let me just wind that back, because the move that we're talking about right now is literally happened this week. It has literally happened this week. And just so you know, yeah, so that Monday was horrible. Yeah, so Monday just gone was actually a horrible day, right? I mean, if you spotted it, great. If you spotted those moves, well done to you. But however, when opportunities are created on a Friday, that is the most annoying time for opportunities to be created, in my opinion, right? On when you get opportunities that's made on a Friday, and then if you look at this push that goes all the way up, right? And then when you look at the collapse, which is a good decent amount of pips all the way to the downside, okay? Here, if you had your volume profile up, right, and you had it all set up, and you could see the low value node in this location over here, there is a high possibility you could have got this move, right? I'm hoping all you guys have your volume profile set up, right? And obviously you were able to take advantage. Now, say for example, you don't have volume profile set up, right? You don't have it set up. This move, the only time that this move would have made sense to jump in with any form of trade, the only time it would have made sense for you to do anything would have been when price came down here. When it knocked out this low. When it knocked out this low right here. That is the only time that jumping in with a sell would have made sense. And if you did do that, okay, and you got it dead on, you would be about break even about now, about to go, well, you would have hit break even, And right now, you would be about to go into the red, right? About to. Not saying you will, but you're about to, because it's dead on the level in question. Okay. So as it stands right now, price is now leaving another low value node area. And like I told you guys before in the last analysis, I'm not sure which video I talked about it on, price is always attracted to point of control. Okay, so no matter where price is, it will always try to find its way to point of control, and it will just play around in that area. So at the point of control level, it's also is a really good time to hop into positions if you need to, right? So at the moment, if I was thinking about jumping into USDJPY, okay, the rules in place is not exactly the kind of rules I like. Reason why is I don't have clear options to get in. So on a sell, I can definitely see an opportunity if price creates it that I should tap into a sell, right? And that would be this location right here. That would be this location right here. So if this location is taken out, I could consider taking a sell, and obviously it becomes that much stronger if it's done under this low value node over here. So if it's done under there, then obviously it makes it that much more stronger. Now bearing in mind, just like with anything in the market, nothing is guaranteed, right? Nothing is guaranteed. Case in point is this over here. We had price close above this low value node area, okay, and then it tapped into another low value node area and then came all the way down. So when you're looking at this, you've got to be mindful of all the other additional low value nodes that could actually mess up your party. And in our case, we have one right here. We have one right here. And then we have another one under here. So if you're patient and you're able to wait for price to come all the way down to this zone right here, okay, and if you get a bounce above, you can actually try to consider taking long positions again back up to the upside, because at the bare minimum, it is going to try to head to the point of control. Best case scenario, it is going to make its way from down here, if it gets this low, all the way back up to this area right here. Okay, so let's see how many pips you guys would have gotten if you did this move all the way to the downside, if you was able to catch that. So that's 346 pips. 346 pips to the upside. So if you got that, well done to you. And last week's move. So I'm going to assume that you guys did not hold your position over the weekend. I'm just going to assume that, right? So last week, when did I do my video? I think I did my video early, so it would have been about, so you would have seen it, say about 9. All right, so you take your position from up here, and then you ride it to close on a Friday. Yeah, so based on the assessment of last week, right, if you hopped in, you could have gotten 132 pips, which is not bad. 132 pips. And then on a Monday, price continues to push up, finds the ceiling resistance level, which is the low value node up here, then flies all the way back down, giving you an additional 346. So you would have done really well if you did spot that, and if you did, great. If you didn't, this is why a channel like mine exists. So we do the work so that when in future, when situations like the ones we've just seen here do appear, we are able to jump on them and take advantage of those situations, right? So with that said and done, what I think you should be looking for, let me just make sure I put in all the relevant levels in here before we move on. Okay, so we're gonna say this is last week. So okay, so just to get back on track. Sorry, I'm kind of all over the place this morning, so do forgive me for that. So to get back on track, if we're looking for sales right now, okay, right now in this current market, we need price to close below 144.511, right? That's if we're looking for sales right now, right? But however, we do have a signal over here right now to say price is pushing up to the upside, so that may be worth paying attention to. However, there is no guides in this area that I can spot right now that will give us a clear definition as to say what price is trying to do. Okay, so in our situation, the only thing that I can say is, based on what I'm looking at, I would want price to close above this level right here before I consider taking buys in this position, because I always need something taken out. I need something taken out in order for it to make sense to me. And in this case, I would need a swing high taken out, and the number in question, or the location in question, will be 148.008, right? So that's your buying opportunity, and that is your selling opportunity. Now, for this week, this could actually end up being the weekly high. And as for the weekly low, we're waiting to see where that is. But what we do know is last week's weekly low, we can definitely use that. And last week's weekly low was 144.326. That is this level right here. So for this week, if this level is taken out, which corresponds with this number over here, which corresponds with this low value node over here, you could think about taking shorts. But remember, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm only a guide, right? So I expect you to do the work to make sure it all makes sense before you jump in with your hard-earned capital. So with all of that said and done, my awesome people from all around the world, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found value in this video. And if you did, feel free to drop us a comment, because I would love to hear your thoughts. And I will see all of you again on the next one.